watching News 3, the Southern Illinois news leader, live from WSIL TV in high definition. News 3 starts right now.
Working together, we will begin the urgent task of rebuilding our nation and renewing the American dream.
Donald Trump takes a clear path to the White House tonight as Hillary Clinton concedes. Meanwhile, protests hit the streets in America. Good evening. The race for president has ended tonight, but those unhappy with the results have taken to streets of some major cities right at this hour.
That's right. We're going to take a live look at this, just one of the marches in Chicago protesting President-elect Donald Trump's win tonight. So far, most of these protests have been peaceful, so we're hearing, but there are some reports of violence near a protest in Seattle where about an hour ago, 5 people were being treated for gunshot wounds. Now, currently, demonstrators are holding signs and chanting things like, "Not my president." We'll have more on these demonstrations and what's next for Trump moving forward later in the show. Turning now to the aftermath of our local races. A well-connected Marion Representative John Bradley lost his seat in the Illinois legislature last night to a newcomer.
Bradley had such good connections and brought home the bacon so well, Marion Mayor Bob Butler, a Republican, readily endorsed Bradley, a Democrat. Now, with Bradley's loss, could Marion pay a political price? News 3's Tia Reinhardt has the answer to that question tonight. Tia?
Yeah, Marion Mayor Bob Butler says he'd prepared himself for Bradley to lose the race, but felt he had to support Bradley for all he'd done for the town. In August, Marion Mayor Bob Butler, a Republican, endorsed State Representative John Bradley, a Democrat, in this year's election. But Tuesday night, Bradley's opponent, Benton business owner Dave Severin, beat Bradley, who held the 117th District House seat for 13 years.
I knew that Bradley was going to have difficulty. He's been very close to the Speaker of the House, Madigan. Madigan is probably the most unpopular politician in the state.
Severin's campaign complained to the Southern Illinoisan the ad constituted illegal political activity because the ad took place in Marion City Hall. Butler says his endorsement paid off a debt to Bradley for all he has done for Marion.
Bradley was responsible for the city receiving a $2.5 million grant for the Hub Recreation Center. I felt that we were obligated to support him because of all the good that he'd done for Marion.
But with Butler backing the wrong guy, will that stop the flow of money to Marion? Election night comments from Severin suggest otherwise.
It's been very humbling for me. It's been very eye-opening, and I'm excited and I am passionate about fighting for us.
Butler calls Severin a good man and says he will support him however he can. He remains hopeful a stronger Republican Party, with Severin and Harrisburg Mayor Dale Fowler, will keep investment coming to growing areas like Marion.
With the election of these two Republicans, Fowler and Severin, helped reduce the majority the Democrats have in both the House and the Senate.
I asked Severin's campaign specifically if the endorsement would hurt Marion. The Severin campaign said he looks forward to working with Mayor Butler and all the other city leaders in the district. In the studio, Tia Reinhardt, News 3.
Thanks, Tia. And Bradley wasn't the only longtime Democratic incumbent to be unseated last night. It seems the face of Southern Illinois politics is changing. John Jackson with the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute says although Southern Illinois nearly banished its Democrat representatives, the Democratic Party still holds a healthy majority in both the House and Senate. However, some believe Speaker Madigan lost his supermajority with the loss of Bradley and Forby. But Jackson says that isn't the case.
It really doesn't make any difference because he didn't have a working supermajority. He always had a couple of Democrats who were off the reservation, did not vote with the Democrats. So the myth of the supermajority is now gone.
Newly elected Republican Senator Dale Fowler and Republican Representative-elect Dave Severin will head to Springfield in January to begin representing Southern Illinois. Senator-elect Tammy Duckworth was out today thanking voters in Chicago. Duckworth unseated incumbent Republican Mark Kirk last night. She becomes only the second woman to represent Illinois in the U.S. Senate and says she's ready to fight for the middle class.
We'll work with whoever is willing to work hard for this nation and for the good of the people of both Illinois and the United States. And I'll stand up to anyone who makes decisions that are bad for the nation. But it's time to heal the country and come together. And I'm just anxious to roll up my sleeves and get to work.
Duckworth also made stops in Peoria and Springfield. She's expected to meet with Kirk at some point in the coming weeks to discuss the best ways to move the state forward. Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner is commenting on the results of the election, calling on residents to move on and start working together. Rauner says the people of Illinois deserve prompt bipartisan action to solve problems and get good things done to make Illinois more competitive so we can be more compassionate. The governor says that means reform and a truly balanced budget.
Finally, a cool average fall day. Here's Jim with our first look outside.
And much cooler out there. Temperatures pretty close to normal. Some of our readings today have been a little on the warm side of normal, but getting very, very close. And of course, after all of our real warm temperatures of recent, it feels a little colder than it is. But if you're outside, especially Heron and Jonesboro, it is chilly right now. Temperatures already into the 30s, 37. The report coming in from both of those sites. Junction right now 45 and Poplar Bluff cooling off. Three Rivers right now reporting 43 degrees. I think we're going to see some frost around tonight. Not expecting freezing temperatures in most locations. I won't rule it out in some locations. We've dropped our low forecast for tonight from 35 to 34. We use 2 degrees, so 32 still possible inside our verification scheme. Tomorrow afternoon, once again, a lot of sunshine, a little bit of a southwest breeze tomorrow afternoon, so I think temperatures bump up just a little bit, mid-60s. That's because we're warming up ahead of another cold front, and behind that cold front, even colder temperatures for the weekend. I'll run those down for you in the forecast. It's coming up in just a few minutes.
Jim, thank you. Last night, Jackson County voters approved by a more than 2,000 vote margin a countywide 1% sales tax to improve schools. Schools made the move in an effort to move away from property tax revenue in favor of more reliable sales tax money. Revenue from the tax can only go to support additions, renovations, and bond payoff. Carbondale business owners raised concerns it would drive customers away since the city recently imposed a 2% food and beverage tax there.
Gosh, it's awesome that they were able to kind of work past that and say, you know what, this is for the kids, it is for the community, and get it done. So definitely appreciative of that and the support we got from Carbondale.
School leaders say the school's facility tax will take effect July 1st of 2017.
A 1% sales tax initiative in Massac County was voted down by 1 vote last night, but there are still 17 absentee ballots to be counted. The tax would fund repairs to the courthouse. Major structural issues have forced workers and courtrooms into the old Banterra Bank building. State's Attorney Patrick Windhorst says those absentee votes won't be counted for 2 weeks.
There's still a process that follows after the election where votes will be collected and also counted, and those are absentee ballots that were mailed by Election Day. And those can be received by the county clerk up to 2 weeks after the election.
Now, this same sales tax, you may remember, failed earlier this year during the primaries. County commissioners fear several county departments will see job cuts if the absentee ballots don't come through with at least 2 yeses.
Here's a clear sign the election has ended. Fewer ads or campaign signs. Scenery has already begun to change along Route 148 in Williamson County tonight. Volunteers with the Williamson County Republican Party spend much of the day today riding around the county removing hundreds of campaign signs. Some will get thrown away or recycled, but most will go into storage.
We'll go back and separate them, and some of the people who are going to be running again, like Mr. Boss will be running again in 2 years, and so we'll save this sign and use it again.
Volunteers plan to take down more than 1,000 signs just today. Illinois law does not require the removal of campaign signs in any specific time frame. Local leaders encourage politicians, though, to do it soon after the election.
To Franklin County now. Cesar Mayor Jason Ashmore has apologized tonight for a shocking post he made on Facebook following election results last night. Here's what it said. Quote, well, the polls are in and Cesar and other towns voted for candidates that will not help Cesar or so ill. As per my previous post, I needed those that were in office to move forward. Also, Sesser voted in a person for circuit clerk that is against everything we have fought against. Therefore, I will be submitting my resignation because I'm not going to work hard for people that apparently don't care to help me work for them. Now, that post was later taken down, but not before several shares, comments, and reactions from residents.
I hope he doesn't mean this, because if he means this, I don't know where Sesser will end up.
Really not professional. My opinion is it don't matter who's in office. I think Republicans, Democrats, everybody who's in the community need to band together.
Now, Ashmore did clarify late this afternoon, apologizing for the post, saying his emotions got the better of him. He says he has no plans to resign his position and will serve as mayor for as long as the people of Sesser will allow it. The weather has been pretty nice lately, but the lack of rain could cause fire dangers. We'll explain.
The first, even though the election has ended, protests, as we said, spring up tonight over our newly chosen president. The very latest on that situation as News 3 at 10 continues.
You're watching News 3 at 10 with Dennis Turner, Jayla Gray, Chief Meteorologist Jim Razor, and Sports with Darren Kennard.
Well, the election may have ended, but emotions surrounding it have not, with multiple protests in several cities going on right now.
Here's a live look at Chicago, just one of several similar demonstrations. There have been no reports of any widespread violence so far, but people in Seattle, 5 people are reportedly being treated for gunshot wounds. ABC's Lauren Lister has more on those demonstrations and what's next for the president-elect.
Good afternoon, everybody.
As politicians urge the country to unify behind President-elect Donald Trump, thousands of protesters hitting the streets from New York to Chicago to Seattle. Just hours earlier, Hillary Clinton facing her tearful supporters fresh from a divisive campaign and a stunning defeat, saying it's time to unite behind Trump.
We owe him an open mind and the chance to lead.
Clinton getting emotional, too.
This is painful, and it will be for a long time.
Shortly after, President Obama saying it's time to come together, prioritizing a smooth handover to the next president.
We are now all rooting for his success. The peaceful transition of power is one of the hallmarks of our democracy.
Trump overnight Tuesday capturing the presidency in an historic upset, winning key battlegrounds and even some traditional Democratic strongholds, watching in Trump Tower as the election returns rolled in. Staffers cheering as they closed in on victory. And just before 3 a.m., President-elect Trump helping his son Barron before leading his family into the hotel ballroom for an acceptance speech before throngs of elated supporters and the country.
Ours was not a campaign, but rather an incredible and great movement. I will be president for all Americans.
And tomorrow morning, Trump is expected to be here in Washington, where President Obama will welcome him at the White House for a meeting in the Oval Office. Lauren Lister, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
And world leaders have been sending their congratulations and support from President-elect Trump. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says he'll work with Trump to move the two countries forward in a positive way. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calls Trump his friend, and he looks forward to strengthening the bond between the U.S. and Israel. And Russian President Vladimir Putin says he looks forward to what he calls the difficult road to stabilizing relations.
Another nice day in our area with finally average fall temperatures.
Will we have to break out the winter jackets anytime soon? Jim has the answer when we come back.
Putting accuracy first, this is News 3 Weather.
I have learned that wardrobe for weather is a very personal decision. But yes, I think we'll see some winter coats coming out. I also think we'll see the ever-popular shorts and hoodies kind of thing going on. There's some cool air settling in over the region. Tomorrow morning going to be one of the coolest mornings we have seen. High temperatures this afternoon. We're back close to normal, even warmer than normal in our southernmost counties. Poplar Bluff not seeing the cool air like what we have seen in southern Illinois. The high today there, 67, while the high in Carmi was 59, Sparta 58, Carbondale and Harrisburg both 60. Murray's high today, 59 degrees. Now let's look at current temperatures. It's already getting chilly out there, and dew points are still up. And that's why I think where we do see some frost tonight, the frost on windshields could be quite thick in some locations. It will have more to do with how much humidity there is in the air rather than being really, really cold, because for most of us, even though it's 39 in Carmi and Mount Vernon and 37 in Cape Girardeau, most of us will see temperatures staying above freezing tonight. Looking more and more like we will see some readings of 32, maybe a stray 31, but most of us more likely around 33 to 35. 43 right now in Carbondale. Now we are checking in at the Strip, not at the airport. The dew point 39. So again, dew point, a pretty good indicator of what your low could be. Also, these two numbers close together, a good sign that normally we would be thinking fog. But when the temperatures get this cold, that fog can turn into frost, especially on blades of grass and windshields and such. Satellite imagery, boy, it sure looks like there's a lot of clouds out there. This is pretty neat for all the weather nerds. The way we know that this is just cold temperatures is we can see all of the little individual lakes. Water cools down more slowly than the ground, so those spots are still warm. We can also see Illinois River cutting in there. So clear skies, but cool temperatures showing up on the infrared. Satellite imagery, radar is dry, and it's going to stay dry. That's my big concern with the weather right now is field fire danger certainly is going to go up, and it's already high in many locations, especially western Kentucky, where the drought has been a little longer ongoing than in other locations. Weather coming up over the next day or so. High pressure is in control, but dropping to the south. There's that south to southwest flow that warms us up. That cold front will move through Friday. It'll bring a few more clouds. We're going to call it partly cloudy on the board, but behind it, look at the low temperatures dropping off. And some of those numbers have been dropped since I was with you at 6 and 6:30. We've now dropped Sunday morning to 32, meaning we think some of us could be down around 29 or 30. That will be the first chance all season of the killing frost coming in. Temperatures below 33 degrees, so be prepared for that. And again, I think we could see that in some locations even tonight, just not as widespread. Otherwise, it's dry and it's pretty seasonal.
You know, it's been a strange fall too, so I think a lot of people may be looking forward to getting to put some jackets on.
Some are, and some are enjoying the warmth. I know I hear from them just as well, but like it or not, here it comes.
All right. Thanks. The lack of rain across the region has community leaders worried about safety when burning leaves and brush. Here at WSIL, we've measured less than an inch of rain over the past 40 days, and now that we're reaching the end of fall, many leaves have fallen off trees, creating potential fuel for fires. Tony Rogers of Creel Springs says that his community stresses safety with the city burning ordinance.
Is there just for the safety of the people in the city, and we just want to make sure that when people are burning their waste, that they need to keep it under control and don't let it spread over to a neighbor's yard or out in the road, or they need to keep it all contained on their own property.
Rogers says it's best if you can hold off on burning until after a rain, and of course keep an eye on fire from start to finish.
On the court watch tonight, a judge has postponed sentencing for a Mount Vernon man convicted of first-degree murder. Just last month, the jury found Stephen Murphy guilty in the June 2015 murder of Tamara Malin. But today, a judge moved his sentencing to November 29th due to incomplete pre-sentencing records. Now they're waiting on those records from Cook County. Donald Moultrie of Jackson County will head to prison after pleading guilty today to charges of aggravated battery. The Jackson County State's attorney says the 29-year-old locked his pregnant girlfriend in a room for 4 days and abused her. The investigating officer noticed bruising to her arms and redness to her neck. Moultrie will spend 5 years in prison.
Other stories making news now. Voters in 7 states, more states, have legalized the use of marijuana. But some pro-legalization advocates say they are unsure where Trump stands on medical marijuana issues, calling him unpredictable. The president-elect has said in the past that he supports states' laws legalizing medical marijuana. Still, the industry may be too big and valuable now for the Trump administration to stop.
North Carolina Congressman Kevin Cramer says Donald Trump's presidency might aid completion of the Dakota Access Pipeline if it hasn't wrapped up by the time he takes office. The Standing Rock Sioux tribe opposes the nearly $4 billion pipeline. A coroner has identified 2 more victims found on Todd Colehep's property in South Carolina. He apparently buried the bodies of John Coxey and his wife Megan about a year ago after shooting them. Last week, police found Kayla Brown alive and chained up on the suspect's property. They later found her boyfriend's buried body nearby. Colehep has also confessed to a quadruple killing in a motorcycle shop in 2003. That links him to 7 deaths now in all.
In tonight's To Your Health, a disturbing report from the American Cancer Society tonight. The number of women dying from cancer is expected to more than double worldwide in the next 14 years. Kim Hutcherson has the details.
5.5 million women are expected to die from cancer by the year 2030, according to the American Cancer Society. That's a 60% increase in less than 20 years. Breast cancer is the deadliest form of cancer among women. Rates of breast cancer survival are hugely dependent on early detection and treatment. Survival rates also vary greatly from country to country. The U.S. has seen a 20% drop in cancer and mortality rates since 1991. That's thanks to better tobacco control and medical treatment. The American Cancer Society says the massive increase in deaths will most likely come from low and middle income countries where access to health care is less widespread. Doctors are urging developing countries to take some basic steps to curb the trend. They say promoting self-examination and campaigning against smoking can be helpful. I'm Kim Hutcherson.
A couple of top high school athletes make their college choice tonight, and they won't be going far.
That's right. We'll show you where both a baseball standout and a track and field star will head come next fall. Darren introduces us next in News 3 Sports.
This is News 3 Sports in HD.
On the first day of the November signing period, Carbondale standout thrower Sam Sycon made his collegiate choice official, and he won't be going very far at all. Sycon signed his national letter of intent this afternoon with SIU. He's the two-time state champion, having swept the shot put and discus finals in both his sophomore and junior years. This past May, Sycon broke the 2A meet record in the shot. Now he'll head to Southern to try to be the latest in a long line of talented throwers.
SIU definitely has one of the best, if not the best, throwing program in the nation as of now. So I really think it's going to help me a lot as a thrower, and just going to college always helps someone as a person and academically, and just I think it'll be an all-around good experience to go to SIU.
Sycon plans on competing in the hammer throw at SIU as well. Well, this morning, ZRC standout left-handed pitcher and outfielder Gabe Schimpf signed with Southeast Missouri State. Schimpf was 6-2 on the mound with a microscopic .10 earned run average. He also hit .432 and stole 15 bases. Schimpf is the first Division I signee in the 31 years of the program.
Looking through all my colleges and weighing my options, I felt that SEMO was my spot. I went and visited campus, and I knew as soon as I stepped on campus and talked with the coaches and went through everything, I knew that this is where I belonged, and I've been pumped for a really long time.
Schimpf says he plans to major in pre-physical therapy at Southeast. Well, the Deep South has had its struggles in the state postseason volleyball tournament. The 2014 Woodlawn Cardinals are the only team south of Interstate 64 to bring home a trophy. That will change this weekend. The NCOE Fighting Cardinals volleyball team is the talk of the town. Everywhere you look in Norris City, you'll find red ribbons, window paint, posters, and signs. That's what happens when you earn the school's first trip to the state volleyball semifinals.
It's crazy. I mean, you know, North City sports, we don't go to state all that often, so when we do, I mean, the whole town's supporting us like crazy, and I just want to say thank you for that to the town, and it's just awesome.
NCOE heads to, fittingly, Redbird Arena in Normal 28-6, but 3 of those losses came at the Marion tournament early last month. Since then, the Cardinals have rattled off 10 straight wins, including sweeps in both sectional matches as well as the super sectional.
When you start the season, you know you got a pretty good team, and we battled some injuries throughout the season, so we were finally our healthiest at the end of the season. and I think we are now playing our best volleyball.
If you would have asked us at the beginning of the season what we thought that we could do postseason, I think that the answer would not have been how far we've come right now. Going to state is unreal, and we're just so excited.
Teamwork. It really is. You know the saying, teamwork makes the dream work. It's true. These girls play so well together, and that's what it is.
The Cardinals know they will be bringing back the first girls team trophy in school history. So with no pressure, the players say they're going after the top prize.
I think that it hasn't really hit me yet. I think that Thursday night when we're sitting in the hotel room, I think that I'll kind of be nervous, but I'm mostly just excited. We didn't think that we would get this far, and we're just having fun.
And that's what I've been preaching to them here in the super sectional, things like that. Go have fun and play the game that you guys have loved, that I've watched them grow up since they were in 6th grade playing. So that's kind of been our focus, is just go out there and have fun and enjoy it.
Now NCOE will face West Prairie in the first 1A semifinal Friday at 9 a.m. Defending champ Eastland will take on Stu Strauss in the second. On the Slick Stuff tonight, the Blackhawks beat the Blues 2-1 in overtime.
Somewhere Jeff is crying, right?
That's right.
We'll be right back. My heart is racing, and that hasn't happened in a while on TV. For 3.5 years, you've welcomed me into your home to bring you the news, and for that, I want to say thank you. This is my last newscast here at Channel 3, and it's a tough goodbye. I want to say thank you to all of our wonderful behind-the-scenes people who work so hard to make us look good, our producers, associate producers, directors, photographers, and more, who all make this come together here on TV. A special thank you to our owners here at WSIL, Steve and Bonnie Wheeler, and my news director, Mike Snuffer, for taking a chance on this Texas girl. Thank you to all of you who've embraced me in the local communities and made me feel at home. Southern Illinois is a special and beautiful place, and I will not forget my time here. It's been a pleasure to serve you and bring you the news from my time in the mornings to with all you early risers to the time here in the evenings. And of course, last but not least, thank you to all my coworkers who have become more like family. I'm truly going to miss all of you guys, Darren, Dennis, Jim, all of the rest of you who are not here tonight. It's a sad night.
I think I can say for all of us, you're welcome, and we're going to miss you. And thank you for becoming such a good friend to us all in the last couple of years.
I'm still going to bug you guys. I'm telling you, you're going to hear from me. So
I can imagine, and I think we can all bet on that for sure.
Thank you, everyone, and that does it for us right now. Jimmy Kimmel Live coming up next.
So for Jalen, Jim, Darren, and the entire News 3 team, I'm Dennis Turner. Thanks for joining us. We'll look for you again tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.